0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck. 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
2 Men in a Truck.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talk on a Friday. Last half hour of the show. Make sure you keep track of where Fred is. Looks like it's going to go strengthen if you listen to the news break that just happened. They think the National Hurricane Center thinks it's going to strengthen. So make sure you keep an eye on Fred over the weekend. It's time now for
your hearing pleasure, Dumb Crook News.
That's right. It's time for Dumb Crook News here on WOCA Ocala Talks. Every Friday at this time, I go find some morons that make sure law enforcement have job security. Because without dumb crooks, there would be no job security for police forces across the country. This one's out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Andrew Hennels was caught for armed robbery, charged with armed robbery. He was caught. He said he was going to go, his plans were to go armed rob a Costco in Oklahoma City. This happened back in March of this year. Cops were waiting on him, though, when he got there. They took him into custody as soon as he walked outside after he committed the crime. But they had let him go in and commit the crime and come out. The reason they knew that he was going to commit the crime, he had boasted on Facebook about his plans to raid the Costco, and a post was included a selfie, a picture of a knife, and the words, "Doing Costco, over." He was arrested as he left the store after holding the store up. He had a knife on him, $410 in cash stolen from the Costco. He just went to trial on this case. Actually, a plea deal on this case. He got 4 years in prison. So before he commits the crime, he brags on Facebook that he's going to rob Costco. Here's a knife. This is what I look like, and I'm going to rob Costco. Sure, the cops aren't going to find out about that. You know, the cops don't monitor social media. Some friend of yours on your social media didn't go, well, that idiot's fixing to rob Costco. I need to call the cops. Tell him. And the police let him go in, commit the crime, and come out, and then they arrest him. Now, before you think anybody was in harm's way, they were not. They had evacuated the Costco, and all the people in the Costco that looked like they were shopping and stuff, it was an early morning. He went first thing in the morning, so it wasn't that busy. They were all undercover police personnel. So he actually robbed Costco, but he robbed the police who were faking like they were employees of Costco. And all because he bragged about it on Facebook. They knew where and what time and when he was coming in, what he looked like, what he was bringing with him, because he's an idiot. 622-9622 is the number to call if you have a comment on how dumb some of these crooks are. This next story comes out of Somerset, New Jersey. Two teenage brothers from Somerset. They got charged with criminal homicide. Anthony Gamble and Joshua Gamble. They're being charged Joshua being charged as an adult. They were taken into custody yesterday morning after Pennsylvania state troopers pulled over to check on what they assumed was a disabled vehicles on the side of the road in Richland Township. Troopers approached a blinking silver Subaru in a parked Audi just after midnight. They had come around the cars because the flashers, the hazard lights were blinking. They found Joshua Gamble laying on the ground in the woods wearing a glove and a bloody shoe. As they detained him, his older brother Anthony ran toward the car wearing bloodstained clothing, carrying gloves. He was arrested. Troopers identifying further investigation found a dead man's body in the woods near the Audi, which contained blood and a large knife on the passenger side floorboard. The initial investigation indicated the unidentified male appeared to have stab wounds about his head, neck, upper chest, and arms. Both cars, the victim and the knife, were all found within 100 feet of each other. Upon further investigation and questioning of the two brothers, they were there trying to dump the dead body in the woods in Pennsylvania because they needed to get rid of it somewhere. But they wanted to leave their hazard lights on because it was so dark they wanted to be able to see their car from the woods so they could make it back out. So you murder somebody, you're going to go dump them in the woods like you're a huge mafioso guy. But Hansel and Gretel, you got to leave your lights on so you're able to find your way back out of the woods. And that was your downfall, and now you're both charged with felony murder, as you should be, and face a life in prison now with no possibility of parole. And all of that happened because they left their hazard lights on the side of the road. That's what they'd probably got caught anyway, but they got caught quicker because they left their hazard lights on the side of the road just to make sure they could find their way back to their car after they went out and dumped the body in the woods. This next story is from Middlesex County, Massachusetts. A woman in Massachusetts, she got arrested for drunk driving last weekend. She was driving her Range Rover. The Wilmington police said everybody thinks they can drive fine. She was not. She didn't even have the ability to stay in her own traffic lane. Authorities in Middlesex County identified the woman as Alicia Eskelin, 24, of Hudson, New Hampshire. She was arraigned Monday on charges of operating under the influence of liquor, negligent operating of a motor vehicle, and an open container violation. That's right, she had a can of beer in her lap when they pulled her over. But what first drew the trooper's attention? He said it was not the fact that she was weaving. Once he got behind her, he observed her weaving. But what first grabbed his attention? He was pulled over on the side of the road. He was finishing up the paperwork on a ticket he had just wrote for a speeding violation when she come blowing by him at 4:37 p.m., so it's in the middle of the afternoon. He goes, that doesn't look right. So he pulled out and got behind her, saw her subsequently swerving and everything, pulled her over, did a stop, pulled her over. She goes, when she got there, she asked the cop, why'd you pull me over? I wasn't swerving or anything. He goes, yes, ma'am, you were swerving, but that's not what I saw first to pull you over. He goes, did you get gas recently? She goes, yeah, the store 2 exits back, I stopped and got gas. He goes, well, you still have their gas pump in your gas tank. She had ripped the gas pump off the pump and was driving her Range Rover down the interstate with the gas pump nozzle still attached to her Range Rover. That's what drew the attention of the state trooper originally, was the gas pump nozzle that was dangling from the gas area of the Range Rover. She's so drunk. Was I swerving? Yeah, you were swerving, but that's not why I pulled you over. I pulled you over because you pulled off and ripped the gas pump out and had no idea you had a gas pump hanging out of your car. 6 miles she drove with that nozzle hanging out of her car. It was later returned to its rightful owner, an All Prime Energy gas station in Woburn, Mass. She's going to be in court October 16th to face all these charges. Woodstock, Georgia. Authorities say 2 teams have been arrested. Citing a Cherokee County Sheriff's Office release, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported 18-year-old Gerald Bankston and a 16-year-old were arrested this Wednesday. They were taken into custody on charges including burglary and possession of drug-related objects. The release said the teams robbed a home in Woodstock The release said they ran when deputies arrived, but were later arrested. Deputies recovered a backpack they believe had been taken from the home. The backpack held clothing, 2 knives, drug-related objects, and less than an ounce of marijuana. But this was the second time the deputies had been to that house that day. Because this was the second time that day these 2 youths had robbed that house. The first time they got away and nobody got them. The second time they were taken in custody because they were spotted trying to re-enter a home they had already broke into earlier that morning. Hey, we didn't get enough last time. Let's go back and get a backpack. Well, now you're going to jail. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's Florida's turn for Dumb Crook News right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.